The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. You are in the Wicked Weed studio, and this is the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. Talking NFL draft. The big day's coming up on Thursday. And remember, we will be live for each and every round of the NFL draft Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It is the NFL draft. Spectacular. Spectacular. All you got to do is join us live. Hit that subscribe button so you'll know every time that we are live and put out more draft prep content right here. Rolling on with 7-round mock drafts. We're talking about the New York Football Giants. The New York Giants, they make a trade. They have the 11th pick overall in this NFL draft, but with the Baltimore Ravens securing 2 first-round draft picks after the trade with the Kansas City Chiefs, they take their 2 picks at the bottom of the draft, trade up to 11, and New York moves back to 27 and 31.
I can tell you the Giants have made a lot of calls about trading down. You know, Dave Gettleman may have never done it. He's made a ton of calls, and the reason is because he wants Jason Owa, and he doesn't want to have to take him at 11. I think Gettleman knows he's not getting Micah Parsons. Mm-hmm. The Lions know they like him. It's not happening. You're not getting Micah Parsons. I know that's who you want. That's who you like. Well, he's not there. So unless you do something that nobody's ever done and try to take the same player twice, and then we have to cut the baby in half to see who really loves the baby, you're not getting Micah Parsons. So save your fucking comments. Save your bullshit. I know you want Micah Parsons. I don't care. Not going to be there. So I have them trading down to 27 and 31. They get Jason Owa with their first rounder. He's just super raw. You know, that's the thing about Owa is, could I see him being Montez Sweat, which is one of the comps I've heard to him? Yes. Could I see him being Vernon Gholston? Yeah, I could. I could see him being the most athletic guy on every field he's ever been on. He doesn't have a lot of moves. He's raw as hell. And he comes to the NFL. He's asked to do too much, and he washes out. That's possible. I said the same thing about Montez Sweat, and, well, he's good at football.
Yeah, he got the Penn State treatment on the pro day. The 40 time was just unbelievable. Jason Owa at number 27. Number
4.36. I mean, it's a 4.36 edge rusher that's built like fucking Aquaman. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I know you're not happy that I didn't give you Micah Parsons. 10 teams in, you know what I've learned? Nobody's happy with who they get. You won't be on Thursday either.
The number 31 pick. They get a linebacker there, Nick Bolton.
There are so few linebackers in this draft. There are huge problems with a lot of them. Nick Bolton's not a guy that has huge problems. He may not be the biggest guy you've ever seen. There's some sketch tape on him. He was not good against Alabama. He was horrible, awful against Arkansas because he was asked to cover too much. He does have height, weight, speed limitations, but he's a thumper linebacker that if you can put him in the right scheme, I think you can get around those limitations. I like Nick Bolton. He's not as athletic as Micah Parsons, but he's a very good tackler. Coverage limitations are what push him to the back end of the first round, but I think he's a 3-down linebacker in the NFL.
In the second round with pick number 42, a guy who has screamed up some boards, a guy out of Wisconsin, Whitewater, Quinn Miners.
I love this guy. He was, broke his hand at the Senior Bowl, kept going. He was super impressive. I want to buy a cutoff shirt just so I can let my gut rock like he did, because that looks cool. That looks like a lot of fun with the mullet. This is a guy that screamed up boards. The grades on him, they just don't mean that much because he played at a very low level of competition. Mm-hmm. But the technique on him at the Senior Bowl was tremendous. He looked good at the Senior Bowl. He has gigantic hands. Does a good job. It does a good job in the run game. Really smart lineman. It's not something you hear people say a lot. This guy's really smart, and he's not going to get fooled. And I think that's a problem that we have with some linemen is that they either outthink themselves or they don't think enough, and they can get schemed out and things like that. It's not going to be a problem with him. Not super agile, but how many 6'3", 320-pound men are.
In the third round, they got pick number 76 overall, and they go with Khalil Herbert, the running back out of Virginia Tech.
Oh, I can already hear that. We don't need a running back. We have Saquon Barkley. Can you tell the Giants fans fucked with me a lot in the last video that we did?
A little bit.
Oh, and I'm a Jets fan, so just to piss you off even more. Khalil Herbert's actually one of my favorite backs in this class. Very low center of gravity. I like him better with a zone team, but I think he would be a tremendous second Thunder and Lightning with Saquon Barkley. He's a little thicker of a guy. He's only 5'9", but he's about 215. I really like this kid. He was even a kick returner, even though he's not crazy. He's not crazy fast, but he's faster than you think he is. You watch him on tape, and you don't realize it until he gets behind the defense and nobody catches him.
Right.
I think this guy would be. They have to do something to take some of the workload off Saquon. It seems like he's been hurt forever. I know it's only been, really one bad injury and a couple little nagging ones, but they have to do something, and it's not Devontae Booker.
Absolutely. I'm all with you. Khalil Herbert, running back out of Virginia Tech at number 76. Then they take a little break, got 2 picks in the 6th round, 196 overall. You got Trey Walker, wide receiver from San Jose State.
This is a guy that I like a lot. If you told me there was a third-day receiver that was going to wind up being just really, really good, I would say Trey Walker. Trey Walker would be very high on my list. High weight speed's not that great, but he's very shifty. This is a guy, he reminds me of Deontay Johnson that plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
There's nothing about his game that just makes me go, yeah, because he's not super fast. He's not real big. He's 5'11", about $190, thin-framed. But everything about his game is he just seems to get open. And people are going to not like this pick because they didn't watch San Jose State football. Well, guess what? I did, because they don't tend to sleep well and they're on late at night. This kid's really talented. And he would be a tremendous value pick, almost to the 200s. And this is a guy that I think could play legitimate snaps next year.
At number 201 in the 6th round, Larry Borum, a tackle out of Missouri. What do you know about old Larry?
Larry Borum is he's big. He's a big guy. he's a big old feller.
Okay.
The thing about him is that I didn't see enough good tape on him. If the only tape I had ever seen on Larry Borum was 2020, he would have been a day 2 pick.
Wow.
That's how good he was last year. In the SEC, good games against LSU, good games against, not great, but good games against Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. Georgia was not pretty. Azeez Ojulari, that didn't go well. But this is a guy that the tape's pretty good. He doesn't sink well. He plays over his toes, which seems to be something I'm saying a lot about tackles in this class. And it's because of what they're asked to do. You're asked to run all of these spread concepts and things in college. He performed better with Eli Drinkowitz than he did in the previous regime at Missouri. What that tells me is that with what I think the Giants are going to do, I think he can be a tackle in this offense. They need a lineman of some kind. No matter what you're planning on doing, and trust me, I've heard every theory short of they're going to dig Jimmy Hoffa's dead ass up from underneath the Meadowlands and play him at right tackle.
Right.
I've heard them all. You're not giving me something I don't know. You don't know any better than I do. I promise you that. Could be Nate Solder, could be, I still firmly believe they need to get Andrew Thomas to the right side one way or the other. There are not a lot of guys that I think have the potential to be left tackles in this league. Larry Borum is a guy that could be a left tackle in this league. You're just going to have to be a little patient with him. And
that's a process that could take several years. It's the 7th round pick.
I would say he's probably a year away from being a year away. The thing about him, though, is that he can have a role right now. He can be a swing tackle right now. 6'6", 332, light on his feet, good hands, strong as a damn ox. That's the thing, is that all of the measurables on this guy are right. What I can't wrap my head around, what I think teams are going to struggle to wrap their head around, is you look at what he did in one system compared to what he did in another, and you go, was he schemed that well? Is the scheme what made him look as good as he was? Some teams think he's a guard. I don't. I think he's too big for a guard. I know that sounds weird to say, but I don't think he's agile enough to be a guard. What I think he can be is a tight end protected tackle, because he will need, even though I think he's a little agile for a guy that's 6'6", 332, he's still 6'6", 332. So, he might need that checking running back, might need just to keep the guys that are going to blister him off the side. But I do think he can be a tackle in this league. Has to get his hips right. His hips are really hard to watch on film at times.
I like the haul here for the New York Giants.
I do too. A lot of Giants fans are going to be pissed off about this. This is a tremendous haul of 5 guys that will directly impact your team this year.
You really believe Trey Walker can be a day 1 impact?
Trey Walker is one of my favorite day 3 picks. Right. And I think he gets pushed down because he played in a funky-ass offense on the West Coast. And I think there's going to be a very smart team. And look, I'm not saying the Giants need a receiver because they really don't.
Right.
With Galladay, Sterling Shepard, here's the thing. You know what? Every one of these receivers, Darius Slayton, you know what they all have in common?
What's that?
Injury issues. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that can be your 4, and when one of those guys gets hurt, everybody moves up a step, and he winds up taking meaningful snaps. And week 15 of next year, when you're trying to build your millionaire lineup to win $1 million on DraftKings, you're remembering what I said.
All right, there you have it, the 7-round mock draft for the New York Giants. We know you're still saddled with Daniel Jones. Hopefully, he can prove his worth this season.
If he can't prove it this year, it's time to throw that baby out with the bathwater. Because if you can't throw to this, you can't throw to anything in the NFL.
Absolutely. Be sure to stick with us here for all three days of the NFL draft. We will be live with our instant analysis for every pick. Be sure to hit subscribe and check out all of our 7-round mock draft videos so you are prepped up for the big day coming up Thursday. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
We're in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different.
We'll be right back.